like right now, as you look back at that time with the visibility piece, what was the turning point there for you?
I'm not even sure. It was being comfortable showing myself. Like maybe I would look stupid, maybe I wouldn't, but just being comfortable with the possibility that I might look stupid in front of other people. That was a big block for me.
The self-consciousness that so many artists have about not just showing their art, but just showing up, being in front of people. Welcome back to Sheology by Dr. Robyn McKay. I am your host, Robyn, and it's Old Home Week today at Sheology. I have with me one of my very first clients after I founded Sheology. Laura Madden is an artist here locally in the Phoenix area. And well, you're so much more than that, but I just want to welcome you to the show.
I'm so thrilled to be back here.
I mean, you guys, I wish that they would have been running film before, or I know this is not film, but whatever. I wish that they would have seen us when we first walked in, because I haven't seen you since I think 2018. You were at our Holly Golightly Christmas party where you couldn't move in our house.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun. But let's go back, because I really want to do a Where Are They Now series. And so you are my first guest in this, but you hired me like right after I started Sheology. I was in Paris, you guys, living in a fourth floor walk-up in the Marais. It smelled like patchouli and it had crappy Wi-Fi, but there I was launching my business, and Laura was one of my first clients. Take me back.
Well, interestingly, I had just moved from Arizona to Minnesota. It was not a great experience, was not happy about that. But I had also decided to leave fitness, which was something I contemplated for many years, finally got the courage and was going to start my own life coaching business. And so, there was all these changes in my life, and you were there, during that kind of like breeding ground for me. And that was over 10 years ago. And it feels like a lifetime ago.
It really does.
I'm not there.
I know.
I'm not living there. I'm not living in that business. So
much has shifted. But I want to take us back, because this is something I think is really important, is that when women come in and work with me, there's this culture of instant transformation. I want instant results now. And for the women who come and work with me, y'all are works of art. Like it's a process. It's a growth, and it's a trajectory that you go on. And the nuggets we can see all the way back there. And so can you just share a little bit about the early work you and I did together from your perspective, and like what stood out for you and kind of how that maybe informed where you are now? Because I can't wait to talk about where you are now.
Well, there was a lot of what I would consider excavating, you trying to pull out certain parts of me and kind of like directionally, where am I going? What's important? And, a lot of it felt unwritten. So I was letting you kind of like pull out these pieces that needed to be focused on and highlighted and, shined a light on. But the thing that was so interesting is that, I thought I was going towards a certain like bullseye, and I guess I had to do that in that moment, because that was like a necessary detour to eventually get me to a whole other place that really felt like home for me.
Where was the bullseye that you had to go to first?
Well, the bullseye was I needed to get myself out of personal training. I needed to find something that felt safe and validating. And so for me, that was going into coaching and helping women in my own way. But that wasn't really where like my gifts were, I guess, or where my soul.
I think it was where you could do it and you were good at it, but there was something deeper. And I always start with the Neo personality profile. I always do, always will.
Yeah.
Because that's the gold standard of personality assessments. It really gives you like a really clear picture of your psyche, of your psychology, of what makes you unique in the world. And one thing that stood out for me about your profile is how high on openness you were. It's the hallmark of the creative personality. And I said, where is this being expressed? Where is your flow? That's one of the questions I asked. And I think that might have opened up some stuff around what you're doing now as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it started to it just opened up my creative edge. And at the time it was clothing. Like that was my art. And that also was a healing place for me because I was so, I guess, unhappy about living in Minneapolis and leaving my life in Arizona. But that was something that I felt it like changed my energy by like doing something creative and like visually seeing something I created, but it was, on my body.
You did a whole series or a couple of years even of upcycling, didn't you?
Yes, in styling.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was styling and personal shopping. And I really, by chance, I really feel it was by chance, I was focusing on shopping at thrift stores. So it was all secondhand clothing. And that was something I truly, honestly fell into by accident.
Well, you were one of the trendsetters with that because at that time I remember going, you're going where to do what?
Same.
Like, what is even happening here? You're going to wear somebody else's clothes. Like that was a period where now it's like everybody does it.
It's more accepted.
My Louis Vuitton is secondhand and
it's
I love
more
it,
accepted,
right?
but not for everyone, but it's more accepted. Yeah.
So being a trailblazer there, how did that shift you?
Well, it gave me confidence. It gave me courage. Just doing something different, but also something that I felt gave me like satisfaction and fulfillment. The thing with what I was trying to, keep myself in this box of coaching and helping people in that way, I wasn't getting the fulfillment I expected to get from it.
I remember you describing sitting down, I think your office was in a basement in Minnesota.
It was not in a basement, but it just
like
as well could have been.
Yeah. Just like you were.
It felt like jail. It felt like jail.
Yes.
It felt like jail. It was actually a very nice office right in the front of the home, but it felt like jail sitting at my desk. It just was not, my soul was like, get out, get up.
Well, you score so high on aesthetics too. Beauty is not optional for you. It's a requirement. And you're somebody who's meant to bring through beauty in the world, I think.
Yeah, it changes my energy to see something beautiful or to feel like I've even created something, changed something visually. I can feel a change in my mood, I guess would be the easiest way to put it. Yeah. But it's interesting because through fashion, that like it helped me gain this knowledge about the impact on the environment. And that just became so important, just the waste in fashion and the waste in, textiles. And so it gave me this appreciation for textiles and just upcycling, like using things that already existed. And so eventually I started using these secondhand items, found objects in my artwork. And that was almost subconscious. I didn't mean to do it, but it was just kind of ingrained. Like, I'm collecting things. Okay, I'm going to use them to create art.
So what was the transition to art?
Well, it's interesting because I had been doing that all along. Even in Arizona, I would create art, but only for myself. I didn't tell people. I don't even know if I would have told you.
You didn't tell me.
I didn't tell anybody. It was really something I felt was a secret because I thought people would think I was so weird. But I would just make art for my own home. And when that wall or area felt how I wanted it to feel, I would stop and I would just forget about it. So it was every time we moved really would provoke me to make more art for this new home. So when we moved back to Arizona in 2018, I'm not sure what came over me. There was like a turning point where I felt like all I want to do is make art and like I couldn't outrun it anymore. Like I literally, and I'm sure I didn't tell you this because I didn't tell anybody, but as far back as when we worked together, I had these thoughts of, if I won the lottery, I know I am going to make art out of trash. Like I just had this knowing, but also knowing that's never going to happen. I'm never going to win the lottery. Let's be honest. Like that's probably never going to happen. So I would just ignore those thoughts and I would, just pretend like they didn't exist, but I knew that was there. And I think it was partly, moving to Arizona, moving again, that was another like earthquake for me. And getting to a certain age, I also had experienced really debilitating insomnia just before moving back to Arizona. And so I kind of had these like like breadcrumbs, like, time is running out, like time is not coming back. Like, what are you doing with your life? And I just got to this point where I felt so unfulfilled, but then I was creating art. And that was like one thing where I felt like, okay, if I lost everything tomorrow, what would I keep doing? Or if I had no opportunity tomorrow, I mean, I was working for myself, so I wasn't really going to get fired, but if everything else went away, I knew I would keep making art just because of like how good it felt. And so I had this realization, it truly was like, I could not outrun it.
You can't outrun it.
I can't outrun it. Like, I can't ignore this anymore. And then it was like, okay, so I guess I'll pursue this professionally. And at first it was like, I'm going to tiptoe. I'll do it on the side. And I agreed to be a part of a pop-up where I was going to show my art. And then not long after, the pandemic hit. And then it was like, I was like making art like constantly. I was on Instagram showing the art, doing lives, I was just full force all in.
It's like at that moment, especially during the pandemic when everyone was sent home, I'd have chills right now, but all of the work that you had done in socials and, on screen, you were also like a spokesperson for QVC at some point as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the home shopping channel, which I loved.
So there were all of these pieces earlier on that coalesced at that time in your life with the art. And then you're also sort of in my opinion, a darling of the media as well. You just have this knack.
Well, we did a lot of work around visibility.
Yes, we did.
That was a big thing that we really
What did you
blossom? We birthed.
Like right now, as you look back at that time with the visibility piece, what was the turning point there for you?
I'm not even sure. It was being comfortable showing myself, in being comfortable, like looking stupid. Like maybe I would look stupid, maybe I wouldn't, but just being comfortable with the possibility that I might look stupid in front of other people. That was a big block for me.
The self-consciousness that so many artists have about not just showing their art, but just showing up, being in front of people.
Yes. And a big thing for me, and I think one of my biggest like mind demons with being an artist for so many years was the thought that someone would think I was weird. That was the whole thing. Like I could never tell anybody I made this art on my walls because I was so afraid people would think I was so weird. And I'm not even sure I think I had a preconceived notion of what an artist was, what they looked like, how they lived maybe. But at the same time, I really never knew an artist. I never knew a real artist.
And that's probably, I don't remember exactly what family history there is, but when you come from, hardworking, blue collar background where everybody's just working hard.
Yeah.
And art is something that you do on the side, maybe in your spare time, like dessert. After you have dinner and eat all your peas on your plate, then maybe you get to do art. But it's not something that you do for a living, certainly, in most cases.
Right.
And then it also occurs to me that for a lot of gifted and talented women as children, we had the experience of being bullied for feeling for being different, for looking different, for thinking differently. So there can be that as well that contributes to even unconsciously, to our adult perception of what it might be like to be in the spotlight.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. It's interesting. I had a memory. I think, I don't know, maybe I was 12, maybe 13, maybe 14, but I actually did a mural on my bedroom wall and I was so in awe. I remember feeling like,
wait, you did a mural on your bedroom wall?
It was very silly, but I did.
I love it.
I painted the wall and,
did your mother know?
Oh yeah. Well, I was so in awe and I was so excited to show her because the story is she was going to redo my room for about 5 years' time.
As mothers do.
And never redid my room. And I was so upset. I just decided to redo it myself. And I started there. And she was so upset. She was so upset. I mean, so upset. And I think that's when I decided I'm never doing this again. This is... Yeah. I'm never.
So
never.
There's that inflection point of, being, I believe moms do the best that they can. And if they could have done something differently, they would have. And yet the impact on a daughter at that time in your life and, on your expression, your creativity, that's going to have a lasting effect on how you perceive yourself and even your art.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder I shut that down.
Yeah.
Like really, the door, it was like an iron gate.
Yes. Yeah.
And, it wasn't until my 40s where I did wake up to like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Like this is.
Well, in midlife, that's when our give AF gene kicks in.
Completely. It's so true.
It really is.
It's so true.
So I have a question for you. I was doing some research recently. I came across some research that indicates that women in midlife have two great fears, besides dressing for our shape, because who doesn't want that? But we have a fear of being invisible, and we have a fear of becoming irrelevant. And it actually starts at about the age of 35.
Wow.
So given that, and given what you're doing with your art now, what do you think about that? What would you say?
Actually, I feel like that's so relevant for me. I mean, it's so spot on, because one of the biggest intentions with my art is I want it to be relevant for someone.
Yes.
I want it to be important in someone's life. I want it to elevate someone's life. It's got to be benefiting someone else. And if it's not, then I kind of feel like my art is failing. Why am I doing this? Because otherwise I could just do it for myself. Unfortunately, I'm out of walls. So, but it needs to be relevant for someone else.
Right.
And for me, that means it needs to benefit someone.
There's an artist who is writing a book with me right now in Sheology about her art. She channels Jackie Phillip, which I will love to introduce you to as well.
Yeah.
And she talks about her art being kind of a portal to transformation. I forget who the guy was. Was it Kandinsky? There was one artist in the 60s who kind of brought this kind of psycho-spiritual essence to the art world and said by, observing art, you're changed in some way. And that bears out in the research as well. But I think that for you, the relevance piece, making a difference in somebody else's life through the gift of the beauty that you bring in is, to me, a big part of your purpose. I'm not telling you what your purpose is, but that's how I see it from the outside looking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So relevance with the art. And what else? Like if there are women, because, Sheology, there are lots of women listening about the creative piece and about healing the inner child so that the art can come forward. Do you have any wisdom or thoughts on that?
It's interesting just doing it and putting myself out there in this way. And again, opening myself to the possibility of somebody thinking I'm stupid or weird or looking stupid. I mean, at this point, I am moving forward and I kind of don't care. I mean, of course, it will affect me if someone were
our
to
critics
hate. To hate on my art. But it's just doing it anyway. Just doing it anyway for the sake of doing it, because it does feel so good.
Well, it seems like you're compelled to create.
Completely.
And, I wanted to share this with you. So the origin of the word weird is supernatural. So
really?
I think you're totally weird.
That is so funny. I wish you had told me that when I was
I don't think
30.
Well, let's send the memo back to her so that she knows. But yeah, it is. It's supernatural. And I think that when you're bringing through your creative life force and you're constructing and putting things together, one of the things that stands out for me about that time that we worked together was we were over at the Sanctuary Resort, beautiful place to host our intensives. And I remember sitting with you on that blue couch, and I kept on doing this with my hands. There's something here with your hands. There's some kind of you have to be doing something with your hands. Can you go back to that moment and tell me from your perspective what that was and how that relates to what you're doing now?
Yeah, well, it completely relates to what I'm doing because, we go back to me sitting at my desk, and even today, sitting at my computer is excruciating. But it's just this act of using my hands, the act of creation. I mean, that's where I really feel like I'm doing my life's work, my soul's work, because that's when I feel most at peace. And I do feel most useful.
Yes, useful and unique in your work.
Yes, completely. But I didn't know at the time. I mean, if I had known, I would have,
I don't know. I don't know if you would have, but you
I know. I don't know what I would have.
Because I think that it is a process. And that's what, at the beginning, when we were talking about how for the women who come and work with me, there's a lifespan that happens. And it's not just like a flip the switch and then all of a sudden you're on a different timeline. It's a process of becoming.
Completely. And at the same time, it was almost like I needed to have those years of experience to make me so hungry to be spending my time doing something that really feels right. That felt like the whole package to me. And so to be creating things, it just, I don't know, it's like a little bit like alchemy, and still to this day, the majority of my practice is using found objects. And, I collect these textiles and fabric remnants. And so, it's like resurrecting value in these things that are no longer valued by someone who threw them away or discarded them. And, at the same time, it's become such a big deal for me because it mirrors the human experience.
It really does.
We are completely limitless, but at the same time, we've all had these times of feeling devalued or because and I certainly did too. So it's like, how can we resurrect value? And I don't know, I hope my art will help people find more value in themselves.
I love that. Well, I was reflecting as you were speaking about that, creating art is a very healing process as well. And as you are resurrecting found objects, you're also perhaps resurrecting parts of yourself as well that have gone unnoticed, forgotten, left behind. And so it's a gift, not just to you, but to the people who have your art on their walls. And just even watching you on LinkedIn is one of the most fun places.
I need to be spending way more time on there.
Oh my God. LinkedIn, I love you over on LinkedIn so much.
Thank you for saying that. You reminded me to get back on there.
I love that. And on Instagram, can you tell our audience where they can find you and connect with you?
And Instagram is probably the best place, at Laura Madden Studio. My website is lauramaddenstudio.com. But yeah, Instagram is the best place. But in LinkedIn, I will be spending more time on LinkedIn because I love it. I do love that platform.
Need more fun over there and we need more beauty over there. And you're my office. Like I go and watch your videos and they're amazing. So
okay. Because I thought LinkedIn was...
No, I love it. I'm on a mission to change LinkedIn. So thank you for contributing to that.
Okay, good.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and we will see you next time.